everyone, it's Ashley and welcome to a used book haul. I went to a local Ottawa used bookstore today and they had a 50% off all book sale and I went a little crazy. I got quite a few things, so I wanted to show you guys a used book haul. I try to do these when I go to used bookstores, but every so often when I only get a small number, I will just include them in the monthly book haul, but because this was a large chunk, I decided to separate it into its own book haul. So without further ado, here are a lot of books that I got today. First, I got Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. I know that this is a YA book, I know that it is an LGBTQ plus book, and I know that it takes place in Los Angeles. That is all I know. It was a big deal on BookTube a few years back. People really liked it. I've never read anything by Nina LaCour. I also love this cover a lot, and that was kind of enough for me to know that I wanted to try it out. If you have read any of the books in this book haul, make sure to comment down below and let me know which ones I need to read first, because for the most part, I don't know too much about any of these books. I basically just know that I've heard about them, or somebody has told me about them, or I've been eyeing them for a while, and I just decided to pick them up on a whim. Next, we have I Am Radar. This is a ginormous book. This one I actually do know some about. This follows a young man who was born when the electricity failed in the hospital and his entire labor was in the pitch black, and then when the lights turn back on, they see a completely healthy baby, but it is a healthy black baby to two white parents. And it just follows all of this kind of craziness that happens in the world and how he is connected in some way to them. And I really like books about connections a lot. And I just feel like it sounds like it could be so cool. Like it has such high potential, and I've actually heard absolutely nothing about this book before ever in my life. So I'm very excited about going into it without a lot of expectations because I don't know whether people loved it or hated it. I actually have no idea. So I'm going into it with pretty much zero expectation. Next, we have Bellevue Square by Michael Redhill. This is a Canadian book that takes place in Toronto. I recently made a video where I talked about the fact that I really want to read more books by Canadian authors that take place in Canadian cities. So I saw this and I've heard from a lot of friends that it's weird. I actually have a friend who finished this book and her review of the book was literally just, what is real? Is this real? Is the book real? Am I real? Is the world real? And I feel like that is exactly the kind of book that I love to read. It follows a woman, to my knowledge, who has a doppelganger in Kensington Market in Toronto. And she also kind of thinks that she might be a little bit crazy. She's kind of trying to figure out her own stuff. But while that's happening, people are also telling her that she has this doppelganger. So she's worrying about herself, but also worrying about the doppelganger. And there's a lot of stuff going on. But apparently the whole time you're reading it, you're literally just is this real? What is real? What is happening? And again, I love books like that, so I'm super excited about it. I'm actually going into this one with super high hopes. It won the Scotiabank Giller Prize, which is a really big deal, so I'm really excited about it. Also, it's in this beautiful hardcover edition, and I was just yeah, how do I pass this up? Then I picked up Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell, and by I picked up, I mean one of my best friends that I went used book shopping with picked it up and put it in my hands. End of discussion. It's one of her favorite books, literally of all time, and I always tell her that the main reason that I will not pick this book up is because the only editions of this book that I ever see are the stupid movie cover tie-in edition, and I refuse to buy it. So she saw this hardcover, beautiful, classic cover edition, and I had no excuse not to get it. I know that this is kind of a Russian doll of a novel, there's a story within a story within a story within a story, and I love things like that. It's totally up my alley. I'm really excited about it. I literally don't know anything else other than it's a story within a story within a story. I don't know what the overarching plot is. I don't know anything about the characters. Nothing, and I'm okay with that. Next, we have another book that same friend picked up and was hey, this sounds like something that you would totally like, and that is The Age of Miracles by Karen Thompson Walker. I have actually seen this book before, and I have actually thought about picking this book up before. I've just never actually gotten around to it. As far as I know, it follows a world where the Earth starts to turn slower, so gravity is affected, the environment is affected, literally everything is affected, but apparently it follows these people who are just going through normal, everyday, problems, like friendship and life and relationships and feelings. And there's also this other thing going on where the earth is like rotating at a slower pace, which is also affecting a lot of other things. And I tend to really like books that have like a lot of stuff going on in the background while they actually focus on like character-driven plot lines in the foreground. So I hope that's what this is. But again, I don't know too much about it. I don't know anybody who's read this. Like my friend who handed it to me hasn't read it. This is totally not her thing. She just knew that this was definitely my kind of thing. So if you have read this or you know a blogger who's read this, make sure to comment down below and let me know, because I'd like to kind of know more about it, and I'd like to know like how people feel about it, because I was a little indecisive about this one when I picked it up. So next, we have Ask the Passengers by A.S. King. I've already read this book before and I loved it back when I read it, like, I think it was like almost 6 years ago, but I don't own a copy, and I own a copy of almost every other A.S. King book, and it's in a hardcover format. So I saw it and I immediately picked it up and just added it to my pile so that I would have it on my shelf. This follows a young girl who is struggling with the fact that she is gay, and so she doesn't know how to project her love because she can't tell her family about herself. She doesn't really feel at home in her house, and she doesn't know how to project her love to other women either. So she decides to sit in her backyard on a picnic bench and project her love to airplanes. So like she tries to actually like physically project her love to the people that are on airplanes that pass her house. And it follows her story, but it also gets these little snippets of how the people on the airplanes are affected by her projecting her love at them. And it is just so heartwarming, and I remember absolutely loving it back when I first read it, so I really, really wanted a copy of it on my shelves. Next, we have another book by a Canadian author, and that is The Lonely Hearts Hotel by Heather O'Neill. I have never read anything by Heather O'Neill, although her books get rave reviews all the time. This particular book I picked up because my best friend Katie, who's been in a few videos, you might recognize her, loved this book. She read it earlier this year and she told me that I would absolutely love it, so I had to pick it up. And I saw it in hardcover edition. As you'll notice, a theme in this haul is that I like hardcover editions of books. This book follows two kids who were dropped off at a Montreal orphanage when they were babies, and as they grow up, they realize that they are both kind of prodigies. One of them is a piano prodigy, and then another one is kind of like a comedian, and they just like light up a room, and basically these two kids decide to start a circus. I don't know anything else about this book. I don't even know if the circus part is exactly accurate. I haven't read the synopsis of this book. I just know that it follows two main characters, and I tend to really like books with multiple main characters, and I also tend to go into books not knowing too much about them. So that was enough for me to know that I wanted to pick it up. Okay, so that is my used bookstore haul. If you have read or want to read any of these, make sure to comment down below and let me know. Also, I will leave the vlog of me going used book shopping linked down below for you guys in case you want to check that out. And other than that, I will see you guys soon with another video. Happy reading. Bye!